What epic thing would you go for if you knew failure didn't exist?
I'm Stephanie Filardi. Welcome to Mind the Gap, the podcast. I believe many people fall short of living the life of their dreams simply because they get stuck in what I call the gap. The vision behind this podcast is to help you understand how to navigate the gap and in the process, awaken to the life that is waiting for you. It starts now. Let's go.
A visionary, real, authentic, bold, kind, courageous, outrageous, joyful, loving. These are just a few words to describe my very special guest today, Shawn Michael, who is here to talk to you about what it means to have a big vision and what it means to bring that big vision into the world. So I hope you're ready to be inspired, and I hope you're ready to really dive in and listen. So thank you for joining. Let us begin by taking 3 conscious breaths. So inhale, filling the belly, the ribs, and the chest. Exhale, release, letting go, chest, ribs, belly. And then again, inhaling, really filling up belly, ribs, and chest. Exhale, release, and let it go from your chest, ribs, belly. And one more time, filling up completely, inhaling, belly, ribs, chest. Exhale out of the mouth, let it go, chest, ribs, and belly. So today I have the absolute privilege and pleasure of interviewing Shawn Michael, who is an extraordinary visionary. And you're going to hear from him what it really takes to bring forth what is within into the world. And when I asked Shawn to tell me what his bio was, just to give you a sense, he said, I am as real as it gets. So with that, Shawn, welcome.
Thank you so much, Stephanie. It's a pleasure to be here.
Thank you for joining. So I'm sure listeners want to know, most people, when you ask them their bio, right? What happens? We get this long, maybe 2 paragraphs or 3 paragraphs of everything they've done. And you are so simple. So tell me a little bit about what that means to you and why that's your answer for someone who is so accomplished.
Well, without sounding a little crazy or out there, for me, it's simply being in the moment, being who I am, being authentic, and being in the space that I'm in with somebody, whoever that may be, in the moment. So I'm not being held to any sort of dictation or past or any sort of verbiage or something that I have to remember or anything like that. It's always authentic, and the person that you meet with me will always be the same person. So that's the basics behind that one.
I love it. Thank you. That's transformational in and of itself, right? Recognizing that every moment we might show up differently.
Most
right?
Definitely. Stepping
That's
left.
the true meaning. I love it. And one of the reasons why I'm so excited to have you on the podcast is because for the past few weeks, I've been talking a lot about what it's like to have prospering partnerships and have prosperity consciousness. And then more recently, I was talking about fear. And as I was thinking about you and preparing for our time together, I was really reflecting on the fact that Yes, you are as real as it gets. And you're also the owner of Your 10 Life, right? A transformational training company. And I feel like in order to be able to really step into that role, that you must be someone who not only operates from a prosperity mindset, but someone who has been able to create and bring into fruition a massive vision. So can you tell us a little bit more about that?
Most definitely. So it definitely takes a strong mindset and willing to do whatever it takes to get to the vision that you're focused on. And the key word there is focus. So for me, it's creating something based on nothing, not worrying about the how, not worrying about, well, where's this coming from? Or how's that happening? Or where are the ducks that are needing to be lined up, like most every one of us are taught in school, in education, and even in most business classes is, hey, get your ducks in a row. And, once you have your ducks in a row, get your business plan. And once you have that, get this and, A, B, C, D through Z, and then you'll have your business. Well, what if it was the other way around? What if the possibility was that you got your vision? Like, what's it look like? What's it feel like? What's it taste like? What's it smell like in your mind? And live into that vision. That's what we at Your 10 Life are about. That's what I've created, and that's what I'm here to be the space for everybody else to get, that there is no difference between me or anyone else. It's simply being who you are in an authentic space, having an intuition, having an intention, and going for it. And that intuition being your vision, being the focus. And then no matter what it takes is going for it. So putting the blinders on, and I'm not saying be like the horse and go down the street with blinders on, but imagine if they were see-through, so that the things that we see on the left and right are just the things that are coming up. Mm-hmm. And if we continue to focus and remain focused on whatever vision we've got, those things are what's possible.
Beautiful and powerful. So tell me a little bit about, if you will, about your vision, right? So clearly you have a big vision. You started this amazing transformational company, Your 10 Life. So tell us a little bit about how you came to this, of all things you could do, and what specifically your vision is for the world.
So to start with, I have been in the work of transformation for approximately, I would say, 8 years. So I actually was with another company who was in the area of Detroit, who unfortunately left the area and left a community there. So for me, it was being in an experience of sad and not understanding what was going on and making up all sorts of things in my head about why this happened or that happened. And that's where I was at the point in time. So what I did is, instead of being in that space, I took the work of transformation that I had learned throughout the years and said, well, wait a minute, that's not doing me any good. Like, what's the sense of me focusing on what's not working? Because what's not working, it never supports us in finding out what works, other than, hey, this doesn't work. Mm-hmm. So what I did is I said, well, I love this work so much that I want every person everywhere to be able to experience this in their life and to get their inherent value of what they're capable of.
Okay, so I'm going to stop you
of creating
before you go further, because I am realizing that not everybody listening might understand what transformation is. So someone not familiar, like personally me, I'm one of those people, and I've done a lot of trainings, and I'm new to the transformational work through your organization. So I would love for you to, before you share more about your vision and what you're creating, maybe explain a little bit, like, what is the difference between change and transformation, and what transformation really is?
So transformation, from, if I was to give you my version of it, would be taking what we think is reality in the sense of our verbiage, our dictation, the way we operate in our daily life, in thinking that, for example, things may be other people's fault, or, operating out of a mindset that things are truly not in my control. when in reality, transformation shows us through experience, and that's our own experience, meaning what we experience through the work of transformation and us rewriting our own story saying, oh, wait a minute, I had that totally messed up. I had that in my mind as if it was real, in the sense of it had to be this way, that way, or the other way for things to work out in my life. You know, the ducks in the row sort of conversation.
Mm-hmm.
And then I realized, wait a minute, it's not that way. It's not that way at all. And it was definitely an eye opener. And that's, for me, what transformation is. So
Mm-hmm.
it's taking what we have as our reality right now. Imagine putting it on the shelf and just listening and experiencing a new reality for a short period of time, and then deciding whether or not you want to pick that reality back up off the shelf.
I love it. Some people have explained it to me in such a way where they use like a t-shirt example. Like you could change your dirty t-shirt, like you could throw your dirty t-shirt on the floor, but you can always pick it back up again. Whereas with transformation, you don't go back. Like transformation,
Yeah,
it sounds like from what you're saying, it's like you're creating
definitely.
something new. Like you're not trying to fix or make it better or different an existing situation. You're actually saying, okay, what is actually possible here to create?
Exactly. And it's based off of nothing. In the sense, when I say nothing, it's not based off of a past. It's not based off of some certificate or what people are capable of in the sense of their degrees or their background. It's all based off of what it is that someone can focus on,
Mm-hmm.
what it is I can focus on,
Mm-hmm.
what it is you can focus on. It has nothing to do with the accolades or anything of that nature. It's simply intention.
Mm-hmm.
And most people don't get that level of creation in our lives. For example, responsibility. It's definitely a key in what the training's about. And I love the statement that says, to be responsible is to be the uncontested author of an event or thing. Most people, I mean, that takes, if you really let that sink in, to be responsible is to be the uncontested author of an event or thing.
That's deep.
Uncontested.
Right.
That's deep.
And author, the series of
Exactly.
words. It's like, what? Me? I wrote that?
It's so it's something that obviously it takes work. It's not
Mm-hmm.
something that you come and eat bonbons and
Mm-hmm.
have a
Mm-hmm.
But what it is it's something that it's so profound that it's life altering.
Yes. I can attest to that, ladies and gentlemen. So tell us a little, and more on that in a little bit. So tell us a little bit more about your vision. So what are you committed to creating in this world for yourself, for other people, with your 10 Life? Share a little bit more about that juiciness of your vision.
I am 100% committed to the world being an authentically connected, open, free space where every single person gets their inherent value and understands what they're capable of and goes for it, no matter what it is, so that everyone gets that they matter. And there are no issues that we face, because a lot of the issues that we face nowadays in our society are all based on people being disconnected.
Mm-hmm.
They're just not connected to themselves or each other.
Mm-hmm. So
and when we're disconnected,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we know what happens. So I would love for you to share, maybe, I'm sure over the past 8 years, you have had the opportunity to witness a fair amount of transformation, not only in your own life, but probably in the lives of other people. So are there any standout examples, or whether it's an example I talk a lot about relationships on this podcast. It tends to be a hot topic, right? Because everything is relational. Are there some
Definitely.
examples, if someone is new to transformation, or maybe they've been to transformation before, but they're at a point in their life where they're kind of in that gap again, and they're looking to either improve their their life situation, whether it's financial situation or a relationship or a career. Can you give an example or some examples of transformation that you've witnessed and how this type of work can really be a mechanism to bring that into the world?
Most definitely. And I've personally witnessed, I can't even count the number of relationships that are healed through this program. And obviously, we're not a counseling program or any sort of, therapy or anything like that. However, the result of realizing the inherent value within ourselves and what it is that the transformational work does, that happens. It happens on such a profound level that I've witnessed relationships such as mother and daughter, father and daughter, relationships that weren't there for 15 and 20 years, that all of a sudden after the person who was actually in, let's just say the one that was causing the separation in the relationship, having a realization of, oh my God, what have I been doing? What have I been doing all these years? And that's a realization that they come to on their own. Something it's so profound that they're like, oh my God, I've lost this connection with my parent or my sibling or my father. And it's the relationships that have been repaired are, quite frankly, it's tear jerking. It's most definitely it's touching.
It's powerful.
Definitely powerful.
I have to imagine that, you have a big vision. I have a big vision for the world. I know in my own life that a lot of times obstacles come before us, those of us who are really committed to being a stand in the world. And, sometimes in the face of negativity or, just kind of people's, again, feeling disconnected, that sometimes we have obstacles that we have to face. And what do you notice? Like, are there certain obstacles that you notice come up a lot for you? And how do you kind of navigate that? How do you come back to getting up and getting it done?
Well, that's a great question. And you couldn't have asked a better person, because for someone to tell me they can't get it done, or I don't know how to get it done, or this is too hard, I can assure you that this is probably one of the most difficult yet rewarding and loving and challenging and every other word you can think of all in one adventure. And I say adventure with a clear understanding that this is what I love, in the sense that anything can be done and every single thing comes up when I'm involved with transformation. And what I mean by that is that most people don't get that this work isn't some product on a shelf. It's not something you go to your local store to and purchase or wear on your feet as your, or your apparel. This is consciousness that we're dealing with. And when dealing with consciousness, there's a certain level of responsibility. And that level of responsibility is understanding what we're capable of and then putting that to use. Putting that work to use, putting the tools to use, so that we're able to get past the things that come up in our everyday experience. Like for me, the reason I mention it like this is every single training that happens, because of the dynamic of the training, things come up in my space. Things come up to where it could easily, for anybody else, look at that. Oh my God, I can't get past it. Oh, what's going on? That type of thing. But for me, it's such a regular thing, an everyday part of my life, that I'm able to look at it and say, well, wow, look at that. And then at the same time, it's the blinders on saying, okay, well, yeah, I can see it because, it's there. But remember what I'm focused on and remember what my vision is, because that's what brings me back to, aha, okay, yeah, oh, well, just look at that. Yeah, it's there. That's a possibility, but keep focused and not to worry, everything will work out. And 99.999% of the time it does.
Mm-hmm. I love that you use the word focus many times, because one of the gifts that I have received from participating in your training, there's been many. And one of the most profound ones for me has been, I say to myself, Stephanie, recommit when the going gets tough, when the challenges come and the obstacles come, which they will when you're committed to doing big things in the world. You need to recommit to your commitments. That's not the time to commit to your feelings, right? So it's like you say, it's not about not having your feelings. Have your temper tantrum, pound the pillow, get it out, and then get back on it. So I think that that's a really, like when you say focus, that's how I kind of hear it, because I think it's
Most
easy
definitely.
in life, right? It's easy in life, especially when you talk about consciousness, which I love that you brought that in, is that as we continue to become more conscious beings on the planet through this type of transformational work, we start to understand the role of feelings and how sometimes they actually can derail us in life if we don't learn a way to manage them.
Most definitely. And they can derail us because that's what's looking through the blinders and imagining if that's your new focus.
Right.
That's what I like to let people know. And speaking of a train or a track, if we think of a train track and think of the left side of your train track as being thought and the right side of your train track as being action. So I'm sure we've all had those people in our lives that you go up to them and no matter what, they're all happy and go lucky and everything is joyous about them. And yet, there's something not right about that. Meaning they might be smiling, but inside they're probably not smiling. It's kind of like that, hi, how you doing? It's like, wait a minute here, what's going on? And what I mean by that is in all aspects of what we're up to in creation, because we're always creating. We're creators 100% of the time, no matter what we think. It's like gravity, always on. So anytime we're interacting, whether it's with someone else or even with ourselves, because we're truly interacting with ourselves all the time. And it's the question of what is it you want to create? Do you want to create something that's worth living into or something that might be that, hi, how you doing? You know what I mean? Because that creates something in our experience, in my experience, in your experience. And most people think, that's some mystical hogwash or, whatever they come up with, or that's woo-woo, But I guarantee you gravity's not woo-woo.
Right.
And it's realizing those things within our own space that we do through the tools of the training that allow us to say, oh, wait a minute. Oh, look at that. Oh, okay. Well, look at that. And it's once we have things that we're not looking at anymore and we have our focus simply on what we want and simply what we're going for, imagine all of the energy that's freed up. Imagine all of the energy that we're able to now focus on creating whatever it is we want in our space, in our lives, in our communities, in our country, on our planet. And that's definitely what we're up to, is creating that positive effect every single place. So that when you turn the TV on, it's not, well, we won't go there.
We know.
We all know that space.
We know. I'm so happy you're talking about the power of the mind and the thoughts and that we are the creators, because until I got, involved in some of the, the trainings, the yoga world and the shamanic and the transformational, consciousness stuff, I didn't know that. Like, I don't feel like I was taught as a young child that I am the creator. So
I wasn't either. I don't think any of us are.
So many of us are not. And then we one day wake up and look at our life and go, wait a second, how did I get here? And we have the stories, we have the excuses, this happened to me. And then you realize, wait a second, I can create something different. I can create something new. I can create something amazing. And then it's like this whole world, it's like you said, like this whole world opens up and all this energy flows. And then it's like, okay. So I think it's important that you share that, because I find that sometimes when people don't understand something, it could seem woo-woo. I know that's sometimes how I have experienced life. Like before I was, when I was in the corporate world, if you told me about a shaman and put a rattle in my face, I'd probably be like, okay, what are you smoking? Right. But I was very corporate, didn't have time for that. And then, ironically, that's exactly the shamanic work that I love and quite saved my life, honestly. So now I joke and I say I can, run a business and shake a rattle. So it's nice to be able to land some of these concepts with people so that they understand that, yes, the reason why maybe this is the first time you heard about it is because it is not currently being taught, at least in the schools in our country for the most part. So I'm so happy that you're talking about it in that frame.
Most definitely. And then the thing of it is most people don't realize is that we have this built up over, let's say 18, 20, 30, 40 years. And we have this belief system built up. And now we hear this woo-woo thing. We're like, the first thing is our belief system say, they must be crazy or whatever it is that our system creates, based on our past. And then we're like, wait a minute, but that makes sense a little bit. So hold on, that sounds interesting. Let me go over there and take a look. And then realizing, oh, wow, look at what I've created through my entire past and my belief system. And not to make anybody wrong or like it's bad or anything like that, because that's not at all what it is. It's just information.
Exactly.
It's simply information, and you can take the information or you can leave the information.
Mm-hmm.
And it's what the training is about is not taking anything from anyone. It's about people allowing themselves the space to be free of whatever it is that's holding them back.
I love it. So tell me, I'm curious, and I'm sure our listeners are curious, being the owner of a transformational center, that's a pretty high calling, so to speak. That's a pretty large mission and vision. So what would you say is your biggest challenge?
Well, thank God, even though it may seem as if it's an owner, I'm just the executive director and the founder of this wonderful not-for-profit 501c3. And definitely I did found it, and I love it, and will be here forever with it until I, come sliding in on home base, as one of my favorite trainers likes to say.
Okay, so as the founder and co-creator, what is the biggest challenge that you face?
The biggest challenge, I would say, is the ability to have people see the inherent value in the training before they experience the training. Because of what comes up and what type of product it is, based on what we just spoke about, it not being something within a store or on a shelf. Because when people declare that they're going to take the training, or even think about it, as woo-woo as that might sound, things start happening. Because once we've made decisions in our mind about us creating new, let's say, belief systems or ways of being, or we focus on what we want, it's like everything's going to come up in our space. It's just the way it is. It's not bonbons and everything else that's pleasant on the way to success. It's experiencing whatever gets to be experienced through and on your way to success. And that's where the program is so profound in what we're able to provide to people in the sense of the tools, and then seeing their inherent value and seeing what's capable when they get past what belief systems they already have within themselves.
I love that. Your answer, I love it. Yes, I can see how that could be a challenge, because you know the value, but it's not, quote, something you can sell, right? People have to have a certain desire to want transformation, right? And how good it is.
Said it. You said it right there. There's nothing to sell. It's it's exactly. If people say, "Oh, you're selling something," and no, we're not selling anything.
Yeah.
I promise you, this is about you. So, what is it you want, and we're here for that.
Yes.
So, you know what I mean? It's like, that's the most challenging part of being in this work.
Yes.
It's, of course, the daily challenges with, creating the trainings and all of that. And like I said, energetically, what comes up in my own space. But as long as I'm focused and stay focused on what my vision is, I'm clear that everything will be as it should be. And it's all perfect.
And then what's your greatest joy being in the role that you're in? I know there's many. I'm sure. I know. I'm going to ask you to keep it to two if you can, in the interest of time.
Well, I tell you, I think you've seen me at my favorite, greatest point of joy in the entire trainings is seeing people at the epitome and the Sunday evenings, or whatever the last evening is of their training, to where seeing them when they walked in and then seeing them at the end is like, there is no amount of money or any sort of, there's nothing that can replace that or put a value on that, or it's just, there's no words that I can even put to it. Seeing people realize who they are, and it's just, it's priceless. It is 100% priceless.
Yes.
And
seeing
that's what gives me the greatest joy.
Yeah, right. Yeah, like witnessing it as it unfolds.
Exactly. And the work has been around for more than 40 years. And it's like, I've not seen anything in my life, at least, that's worked as well. And it just, I've not seen it.
Yeah. It's interesting when people ask me to explain it because, as you know, I'm now in part 3 of the training with you, and I love it. And people are like, "Well, you look different," and I'm like, "I know." I'm like, "Well, how did I look before?" But it's cool, right? Like I feel different because I feel lighter, and it's
Definitely.
right. It's really cool to be able to share it, and it's really nice that people can actually see that too. That they
And
can
level
actually.
3 of the training, which you're experiencing, is the ability of taking what you've awakened to in level 1, broken through in the experience in level 2, and then carrying it through in your personal daily life to create that level of success that you're up to.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's the feedback coming from people in your own space that's letting you know you're on the right track.
Yes.
The same people that you dealt with before are saying, hey, you look different.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, wait a minute, what's going on?
Mm-hmm.
It's that's the level of what we call enrollment. You know what I mean? Like people are coming to you saying, hey, what's happening with you? Like, wow,
Yes.
what is going on?
Mm-hmm.
Versus, hey, I want to let you know about this thing I've got here, and do you have some time? Or, no, it's just being who you are and being in an authentic space and just going for it and being real.
It's being about it. Someone used to say to me, I know, Stephanie, I know, don't talk about it, be about it. Because sometimes I'm impatient. So it's like when you're being about it, when you're actually being those qualities, right? People see that. So it's powerful. And which actually leads me to one of my final questions I want to, ask you is that, like, I know for me as a business owner that I'm holding space. Like when I think about what my job is, right? I have many jobs, right? But the main one, when I cross the threshold from the outside to the inside space at the Bronx Wellness Sanctuary, I feel like I hold context and I hold space, right? Because you never know, even though it's a wellness sanctuary, I never know what I'm going to walk into. And especially, with all the stuff with the coronavirus going around, it's, there's a lot of concern, right? From not only the people that work with us, but clients and the media. So I'm curious, like I know for me, I have a little ritual where I say a couple of affirmations in my head and I do some deep breaths and I just really allow myself to be the conduit so that when I walk in, I can be the space holder and I can hold the context for whatever is going to show up. So can you tell me a little bit about how you do that? Do you have any tricks? What's that like for you? Challenges? That kind of thing.
Believe it or not, you literally just took the story out of my mind because that is how it's done, in the sense of, if we just spoke about it a little further, it's simply intention. And intention is what we're setting. So if before I enter a space, I set the intention of what I'm clear on what I want to happen, in the sense of not controlling, but simply being in such a way so that others can show up in their most powerful, free self.
And what's the hardest part of being the context or holding space for you? What's been a challenge or a learning for you being in that role? Because it's a pretty powerful role.
Believe it or not,
not always easy.
Believe it or not, it's the everyday challenges of when I set my intention of, let's say, that's why I discussed upcoming trainings or whatever it may be. It's all of what I call the energy up into that point of, let's say, as an example, 100 people are enrolled in a training, and those people have no idea what they're about to experience. However, it's almost as if, let's just think outside the box for a moment, like the woo-woo energy of all of those people shifts over to the organization's training system, you know what I mean? And it's like, okay, all of their energy is moving around, and it's all craziness, and it's a simple echo of that. It's what I like to refer to it as. So it's being able to, like I said, have the blinders on, looking at what's on the other side of those blinders as if it's like see-through glasses or goggles, but remaining focused dead ahead, like that all-seeing eye in the middle of our head, or you get what I'm saying? It's
the third eye.
Your third eye. Yes, definitely. You got it. And being focused and constantly reminding yourself of what it is your vision is and what it is you're up to, and refocusing all of the time. Because it's really easy in our daily lives. And like you said, and with especially what's going on nowadays with the coronavirus and it's just everything in our society and what's happening, it's easy to get caught up in the minutia of our daily whatever it is. And the easiest thing to do is refocus.
Love
And
it.
yeah, that's the secret. That's one of the major secrets.
To refocus. I love it. It's so simple. It's like
yeah,
refocus.
and everybody's like, but wait a minute, that's that simple? Yeah, well, there's other things to it too.
Yes.
But we'll get to more of that in the training.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
It's but definitely the biggest secret is to be able to refocus and be clear on your vision,
Right.
whatever that might be. And
Yes.
don't allow any of the hows, well, that can't happen because I don't have enough money, or this can't happen because I don't have the right connections, or all of those things don't matter. Truly, they don't matter. If you're truly focused and you're truly up to something, all of those things will fall into place. Every single one of them. I've got personal success stories from one of the last trainings that I personally was what they call captaining at that training. And it's where we're taking on that sort of space to be everyone's, to look over what everybody's up to and be everybody's refocus, so to speak, to bring them back to, hey, what are you here for? Like, what's your reason for being here? And one of the people on that team, one of their pie in the sky, what we called it back then, is because nobody believed it would happen, was this person being on QVC and having a pizza product on TV and selling it. Now,
That's
of course,
awesome.
Everybody thought that was, some pie. They're like, yeah, right. There was actually people laughing about it, but we're about creating that. And if you're really focused and you're committed in such a way that that is what it is for you, then go for it. And she just had her last appearance on QVC, the third time last week.
It's awesome.
So she sold out of her product and is in every food store in the country.
That's awesome. Yes, and that's one of the things I love about the training, and is that whatever you're wanting to create, whatever you're committed to creating, whether it's, again, more balance and harmony in relationships, healed relationships, that amazing love relationship, which, I love talking about the juicy love relationships, amazing business. It's really an amazing mechanism to do that, and also to make incredible lifelong friends and connections. I think
And
that is
that's
one of the greatest gifts, quite frankly, that I'm experiencing is partner. Like I said, partners in prosperity, right? Because you want to work with people and be around people that are operating from that level of consciousness, because then you can soar. It's amazing.
That definitely. It's being in that mindset with like-minded people and being able to create like never before. It's honestly living your dreams 100% and going for it with a team that's dedicated behind you. And like you said, the best part about it is the relationships that are created along the way, because the friends and I don't even call them friends. It's more like everybody seems like family, because it's like, wow, it's like I've had friends that I personally know for years and years. And it's the relationships I make in a weekend are no words describe it. No words.
Beautiful.
So that's definitely the gift I get out of it as well.
So as we close here, any final words of wisdom for anyone who's, again, looking to create and manifest a big vision, anyone kind of looking to start something, any final words or anything that you're present to at the moment that you want to share?
I would most definitely, as I said, get clear on whatever that is for you, that vision. And you know what? Take the training wherever it is for you.
Yes.
Get clear on your vision and take the training so that you can get clear and have a team behind you to create that vision and have it come to fruition.
Yes,
that
team.
Team,
support.
team.
Massive support. Yes. You guys provide amazing support, which is incredible. And from someone like myself who has done so much on my own for so many years, kind of almost priding myself on that, I realized, like, holy cow, when I actually not only ask for support, allow myself to receive the support and get the support, I'm unstoppable. It's incredible.
Yeah, because The crazy part is I'm with you, because I used to be in the space of, oh, I can get this all done. You don't need anybody, that
Right.
whole,
Mm-hmm.
Don't
want to rely on anybody.
Why do I don't need them. And then, I experience all this, and years ago, I'm like, holy, you know what? Oh, wow, this is interestingly awesome. And where have I been all these years?
Exactly. So I want to thank you for not only taking the time to speak with us today, but to have the courage and the love and the vision to be part of Your 10 Life, founder, owner, co-creator, whatever words you choose, their words. Because I know for my own life, I've been transformed, and I know that we're just beginning. So it's a real pleasure to get to know you and to walk with you on this journey. And I really would love for you to take a moment, if you don't mind, to share with people a little bit about how they can find out more information. If there's a website you want to direct them to for the next level 1 training, more about Your 10 Life, if they want to contact you, if you wouldn't mind giving that information, I would love that.
Oh, most definitely. Thank you so very much for the acknowledgement. And I couldn't have done it without one of my best friends and my business partner, Seth. And he's supported in creating this organization. And of course, my dear mother and family, as well as God Almighty and our universe. And most definitely, I invite every single person to visit our website, learn what we're about. It's at your10life.com. And that's the number 10. So it's YOUR10life.com, your10life.com. Enroll in the next level 1 that's in your area, and use code LEGACY, promo code LEGACY, if you want to get on there to have your discount. We've created a special discount for anybody listening, promo code LEGACY. And like I said, check us out. Learn what we're about and get your vision clear. Come experience the trainings, and who knows what goes from there. Your level of success is most definitely going to be unique, and I invite you to think big, create big, and don't let anything stop you.
Giddy up. Thank you so much.
Most definitely.
And I'll see you, my friend, in a couple of weeks.
Most definitely you will. I look forward to it.
All right, take care. Let's go.
If you find this podcast helpful, and if it provokes you in any way, meaning you love what I have to say, or maybe you don't like it because it triggers you, awesome. I've moved something in you, and perhaps you will want to share this with someone else in your life who might be interested in being moved. So you can find us on Apple, on Spotify, iHeartRadio, Google Podcasts. And as always, feel free to share links with people you love, because remember, we are in relationship with each other. So the more that you are present and you invite other people on the journey, the more peaceful world we will live in, because we will be together understanding these concepts. So I thank you for your support, and you help us keep the show going by sharing it, by liking it, by giving us reviews, and helping us to grow. Thank you.